Greetings, gang. We are back out trackside. Back out trackside once again on a weekday.
What?
Yes, we're breaking the trend once again. Fortunately, this week is Turkey Week, and one of my professors was so kind enough to cancel class, so my only class for this day is at 5 p.m., which means I have literally the whole afternoon to just be trackside and see whatever I can find.
W's in the shot.
Now today, I came out here with a purpose, but before we get to that purpose, we already have a train coming by. This one, a BNSF coal train, heading down likely towards the Sheriff plant with a nice little surprise trailing out on the front. An H2 Mac.
Incredible.
Oh man, it's nice to see those. No, the shot was much better than the last one. And low key, these things are honestly rarer than the executive Macs, at least just in my experience. I barely see these things on the coal trains through here. As this coal train comes to a stop, I can now finally tell you what I came out here for. I usually keep up with the local railroad channels just to see, what's coming by. And I had been noticing a trend. Norfolk Southern 8098, the Conrail Heritage Unit, has been running back and forth on the 290 and 291 loop for about 1 or 2 weeks. Like, it has literally just been running back and forth on the same train over and over and over again, and I've never been able to catch it because I've just been busy with school. And now that I can finally get out and not have to worry about any work, I was hoping to get it. So I specifically planned my outing to come out at the approximate time that Norfolk Southern 291 would be heading up north towards Austell, Georgia. And after this coal train had stopped, I checked on my phone to see that there was a southbound line. And given that it was around the right time, 10 to 11 a.m., I thought, okay, here I am about to get 8098. Unfortunately, it was going to be trailing this time, but hey, I was just hoping to see it come by.
Hey, who's coming over there?
Disgusting black creatures.
If you have eyes, you could see a problem here. There was no heritage unit.
What?
It was just 3 Norfolk Southern GEs, which had me confuzzled. Like, where is the heritage unit? This is around the time that it should be coming through here. So once this train departed, I checked on Discord looking for updates to see, where is it? It's probably late or something and it hasn't come by yet. Yo, I just can't wait. I just can't wait. Can I get a break, bro?
No.
Please, can I just get a break? Somehow, I managed to miss this train by at least an hour. If you guys don't understand the significance of that update, Austell, Georgia is here, and we are here. That is quite the distance that this train has covered, meaning it had been passed by here a long time. And so when I looked for an explanation, one of my friends told me that it happened to be early today. How convenient is that? Now, to be honest, am I really going to complain? Ironically, similar to the 8114 that I straight up fumbled the last time I tried coming out here, I've actually seen the Conrail Heritage Unit leading not once, but twice. And not only that, I actually caught the CSX Conrail Heritage unit leading just a few weeks prior. So am I really going to complain?
Uncle, you should be grateful.
Bro, I want good footage. Both of these videos are mid, bro, and the CSX unit is mid. Ugh, bruh. So now I sat here at the King Plow Bridge, seeing the DPUs of that coal train that I first come by, and seeing this CSX manifest whose head-end power I would never catch for the rest of the day. The main prize of the day had already passed, and you know, I decided I might as well stick around and see what might come by. So from here, we continue over to Hapeville, where immediately upon coming here, we found a CSX local job reversing off behind a Norfolk Southern Intermodal. An Intermodal that is actually being onboarded now by a new crew that is coming out of that PTI van. This Intermodal here is actually Norfolk Southern 282, heading up north and preparing to go onto the Greenville district. And as it sits here and this crew gets prepared, we see a depressed flat car rolling off in the background. A depressed flat car that, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, will have a lot of significance in the future. You'll see eventually. Anyways, the engineer comes out for a quick check or whatever they were doing. They close the door, and eventually 282 begins to power up and depart north for the Greenville district while that CSX manifest continues its work. The action would not die with the departure of Norfolk Southern 282, because right after the tail end cleared, I looked to my left to see a high rail truck. For those of you who may not be learned as to what this is a pickup truck that is specifically fitted to be able to go between the road and the railroad. You can actually see the wheels of the regular pickup truck that you'd see on the road, in addition to the specially fitted wheels and axles that go below the truck frame and that can land onto the rail profile so that crews can personally go onto the railroad and do some visual maintenance without having to be on an actual train. As the high railer continues on whatever assignments is going on, you can actually see the road version of one of these trucks going off in the distance, with actually a railroad gate sitting on the roof. And as it continues towards Inman Yard, there was nothing else lined on either the CSX or the NS. So I went over to the one spot where I knew I'd find NS action, Inman Yard. Specifically, I went to the PTI pull-off that is near the south end of the yard to see some Norfolk Southern power off in the distance that, ironically, I would never see again even when I went over there. And, more interestingly, local we have parked right here.
Oh, I ain't never seen cut.
A very fresh EMD. Now, this is not just any fresh EMD. This is a SD70 ICC. You may be asking,
What is that?
that is literally one of the Norfolk Southern SD70 M-2s that has been reactivated, but rebuilt into a SD70 IAC. This is specifically Norfolk Southern 1251, and it is only one of two of these SD70 ICC units that are actually in service right now. The other one being Norfolk Southern 1250 that I believe was in storage at this current moment. People really be glazing over these locomotives.
Excuse me.
Y'all, I'm gonna be honest, this is just another ace. Like, legitimately, people be hyping up that the fact that there's an ICC on it and that it has fresh paint, look at it. Any of y'all who wanna overhype this locomotive, I dare you, I'm asking you, tell me what the difference is between this and an ace. Please, I want to know. Tell me what the difference is. Sorry, have to control myself there. I wanted a better view of this locomotive, and there was only one way that I could do that. So, I went over to the infamous death trap that overlooks the CSX tunnel that runs under Inman Yard. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, do not come here unless you have a drone. I am trusting in God for my safety being at this spot. But here we can see a very clear view of the SD70 ICC, and we can see that there was already damage to the nose. NS, what are we doing? And right behind it, we can see a very vintage Norfolk Southern Dash 9. The train that these locomotives are on is Norfolk Southern 154, a 154 that would shortly receive clearance to go up north on the Greenville District. Before it came, however, another southbound intermodal train, a very short one, came on by over the tunnel with two AC-44s, getting ready to inbound the intermodal facility at Inman Yard. Shortly after that power cleared, you can see the brake cylinders of the ICC release, the engine power up, and Norfolk Southern 154 proceed on north to the Greenville District. With the head end power gone, I was not staying here. I do not like being at this spot. So I went over to the nearest good old bridge overlooking Inman Yard. Right here, we will find the tail end of 154 with a rear train DPU, some BNSF power, and we can actually see that intermodal train that we had seen over the tunnel parked to the right, I'm assuming waiting for clearance to something so that they could eventually inbound to the intermodal facility. Right after the DPU cleared, I was expecting the BNSF power to move, until, right behind it, there was a little bit of a smoke show going on. A smoke show that is being performed by this duo of vintage EMDs that seem to definitely be struggling to make their uphill ascent up towards the south end of Inman Yard. Looking closer, it becomes clear to me that the engines before us are a GP38-2 and the SD40-2, and that they are doing all of this smoking and puffing and chugging for less than 25 car lengths. Embarrassing! That are not even all fully loaded.
Always knew you were a bit weak.
As the local train comes to a stop, the intermodal train that we had initially seen inbounding finally gets clearance to go into the intermodal facility, and soon it starts accelerating towards all the intermodal containers off to the right at Inman Yard. Looking towards the hump, we can actually see another yard job that is working down near the main tower, and we can see the next destination of this local job, because shortly after the intermodal train went into the intermodal facility, the yard job began to reverse and actually head over to the hump over there. And as the local continues to make its way towards the next hill, the BNSF power that we had initially seen starts accelerating up south. This mixture of local and mainline freight giving yet another testament to how busy this facility is. As this new manifest continues towards the south end of the yard, and that original local job continues all the way up towards the main tower at the right, I turn around to see that there is another manifest coming on by.
Nice.
I don't know if this is a 153, something off the Greenville district, something off the South district, or whatever it is, but regardless, it was coming on by, as this BNSF manifest has now stopped and is waiting for, I honestly don't know what. Our signings of maintenance action would continue with yet another high-wheeler truck spotted on this bridge. This time on the CSX side, I'm assuming continuing over to the Tilford area, or whatever type of surveillance project they have to do. And as that other manifest continues on south, BNSF power now finally gets clearance and is now starting to accelerate towards the south end. this manifest cleared, I was a little bored because there was nothing else immediately lined right now. So I decided to move down the bridge to get a better look at the locomotive shops. See, maybe there is anything special or cool coming on by. As you can see, there's a long string of Norfolk Southern power, being a Norfolk Southern yard. There appears to be some blue unit back there, honestly don't know what it is, and some BNSF power. And if we look down, we can see CP Rockdale and a solo AC-44 leading a manifest sitting at the signal bridge over there. To me, it honestly looked like they were tied down, so I didn't expect much of that train. So I went back down to the rest of the bridge, where we can now see some more intermodal action happening, with a random string of spine cars being pulled in towards the deeper end of the yard. And how ironic that the one train that I literally thought was tied down and did not have a crew, all of a sudden appeared around the curve. That solo AC-44 glistening in new paint as it starts to take the south end out of Inman Yard. As we look towards the locomotive shops and see the NS manifest and an interesting truckload traversing the tracks over there, I turn around
Good evening.
to see yet another manifest coming by. Yet another rolling meet of manifest trains happening at Inman Yard. As this new northbound manifest now continues on by the locomotive shops, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there is a CSX jump scare happening right now. Wow. A random CSX manifest coming from, I have literally no idea, starts reversing towards the Tilford area, as this northbound manifest continues by and heads up to its next stop. As the manifest goes by, I decided to shift down to the bridge to get a better view of the CSX track. Unfortunately, I couldn't see the power just yet, but we can see the conductor riding the rear of the train, communicating with the engineers as they complete their work. But off in the distance, the DPU is coming by, so I decided to shift right back down to the other side of the bridge to see it rolling to a stop. Nice to see one of these older UP units. This is referred to as the shield scheme just because there is only the Union Pacific shield on front, and this unit lacks the wing paint scheme that is standard on Union Pacific units. Or at least was standard. With this train now coming to a stop, I looked off in the distance to check the signals to see there is an approach given. So there is definitely something else coming. And looking to the right, we get to see this.
It's popping.
And while I stood here astounded, thinking that bro could really sneak up behind me without me spotting him, I looked back down at CB Rockdale to see another manifest has just spawned in out of nowhere.
Suddenly, it appeared on its own.
And while I was looking at this manifest that had just materialized before my eyes, I turned around to see a very pleasant surprise. The CSX manifest that is before us reversing is being led by a CSX flared SD70 Mac. or a mace if you guys want to be technical with me. Oh my goodness, what a pleasant surprise this was. I was completely anticipating that I was only going to be seeing GEs on this train. And yet here we are with a rebuilt EMD slowly reversing with its train before it'll eventually build and start making its way up north onto the Hapeville subdivision. Glad I finally got to see one of these moving, since I fumbled that the last time I had an opportunity to see one of these. And as the CSX manifest continues over to the Tilford area to continue doing its work, I turned back around to see the train that we had seen lined with that approach on the NS side. And y'all, squad, can you believe this?
I can't believe this.
2 aces, a leased WFRX Mac, and a slug set all on one train.
Oh my god.
I cannot believe I caught this. Like, this actually made my day so much better. Call me a nerd however you want. Seeing stuff like this just has a way of making me so happy, bro. And this, I was so elated with Joy getting to catch this. I'm believing that this slug set is going up towards Chattanooga because I've seen videos of units like this working the yard up there. But I had no confirmation of this train's destination, and so was just basking in the glory of actually getting to see it. And the action just does not stop because I turned around to see the tail end of this manifest and to see another local job coming in. Now you may think, no, a local job is probably boring, but look at what is on the head end of this. Fresh, crispy AC-44 rebuilds, one from Norfolk Southern and one for Union Pacific.
Incredible.
You can actually see the difference between these two rebuilds. You can notice that the vents are different on the UP model versus the Norfolk Southern model, and there are probably a string of electrical differences in between these two engines. And we get to see the new Union Pacific paint scheme on it. How tragic, because I personally hate this scheme. The action was going crazy at this point because not only had that other manifest cleared, we still had this UP Shield manifest parts. The local job was inbounding it to Inman Yard. There's now another local job coming out, a pair of eco units leading some intermodal containers, and there is an intermodal train to the left.
Sensational.
And as the tail end of this local job clears, I look down to see that there is another Norfolk Southern train coming out in addition to all of these other trains that I'm noticing. And as if the action could not get any more insane, I look back down towards the signal to see that one of the manifests that we had seen parts at the CP Rockdale signal bridge has now come up in parts.
It's lit in here, huh?
Fortunately, they were not parked for long, and it would not be long before they came up by my way. And as the head end of this manifest clears, look off in the distance. Two of the trains that I had seen as that local job was inbounding Inman Yard now start coming up. The local job, I truthfully have no idea what its ID is, but that other manifest, or rather I should say Intermodal, is Norfolk Southern 242. A Norfolk Southern 242 that has a Caterpillar load trailing on the second car. What a wonderful day this has turned out to be, bro. With 242 gone, we could turn back around to see the intermodal train coming up and the other intermodal yard jobs starting to reverse by. The intermodal right before us actually having a very nice crew. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you. As the yard power clears and the intermodal train that is rolling right under us actually came to a stop, I decided to go over to the PTI pull-off to see why this manifest had stopped, to realize that a crew change was happening here. And as I come here filming the locomotives, look, there is a CSX manifest going off in the distance. A CSX manifest that I had assumed was the same one that we had seen with that flared map reversing earlier. And that won't be the only moving train that we see right now, because that intermodal train that we had seen off at the bridge before is now starting to come up. And look at this wonderful moment I caught of these two crews passing by each other. It truly is a brotherhood out here on the rails, man. That was such a nice sight. And honestly, once the power of this intermodal train cleared, I was not very interested in it. 3 GEs, and I figured that the rest of the intermodal train was going to be pretty boring. So I went over to a spot I haven't visited in a while. The old bell right next to the business over here, where I find out that the manifest that I had seen rolling off in the distance was not the same CSX Mac-led manifest we had seen before. This was another random train, a train whose origins I can only assume are from God himself. Here we'll find not one, but 2 CSX Gevos, both of the older DC variety, and there was a PTI van that was leaving that had just dropped off a conductor at the nose. So I figured that this train was about to depart. It would not be long before the engines started notching up, and I expected their departure. And I will admit, my friends, I was a bit confused because as they were notching up, they were starting to reverse. I'm like, why did the conductor just get onto the nose if they're about to reverse and continue working? And then it clicked in my head. Oh, they're stalling.
Oh my God.
And my suspicion of stalling would only be confirmed because right after the engines had powered down, they shortly powered back up. And not only did they power up, the Sanders powered up as well. So this train was doing everything in its power to start moving. And it would appear that the DC traction on these engines was not helping, as they were literally crawling by inches right in front of me. It was about 5 minutes of this train struggling in notch 8, trying to accelerate.
I can't do this!
Before eventually, the engineer did something that I had seen on a comment of another train stalling at Cordele, Georgia. This video is actually from one of my buddies, Ice Climber, and in one of the comments, an alleged Union Pacific engineer said something about reversing the power into the consist and then immediately notching up to use the momentum to sort of boost the train.
What are you talking about, man?
I don't 100% understand the physics, but it appears that is what the engineer did because the locomotive power reversed intentionally, stopped, and then immediately started moving. And it seemed that that movement was just enough kick for the CSX manifest to start moving and eventually accelerate on to its next destination. And as if this day could not get better, another CSX train appeared. I low-key think this is the train that I saw within the brushes, so nice of you to finally show yourself. Hello there.
Hello there.
Excellent way to end off this day. We could say, I took another local L, or whatever y'all like to say. But to be honest, I consider this day an absolute W. The sheer volume of trains that I saw and the catches I had, I would be a complete fool to complain about what I've witnessed out here today. It was such an awesome time trackside, and I am very pleased that I was able to share this with you all. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and as always, God bless. I will see you soon out on the high iron.